Hey guys, so this weekend there was the biggest North American tournament ever, which was by Night Shift, sponsored by Trolley, for a total prize pool of $10,000. Now, I actually participated in this tournament with the team The Youngs, and we got fourth place. And we won a total of 1250 USD, but there's a lot of things that I learned from this tournament that I want to share with you guys, particularly with the laning phase. So we're going to be looking at one of the games from the finals of melee creeps versus sneaky golems, and specifically looking at what is done in the laning stage and a couple things that I noticed that essentially make the laning stage a lot easier and give them that edge over some of the other teams. Now, before we get into it, a lot of people actually seeing the scoreboard look at John's performance, and John played absolutely insane in the grand finals for sure. But when it comes to the laning stage, he actually wasn't as critical as he is sometimes, because if you look at the stats from a kill perspective here, he actually got 0 kills in the lane in the first 9 minutes, and he only did 3,400 damage, which is not nothing. But when you look at some of the other players, you know, Scout did more damage, Saya did more damage, Lord, like pretty much everyone on the team did more damage than John, who's on Bebop, who traditionally is a very strong laner. So it's not really a hero thing, although they do have strong laners, but overall just a gameplay thing. So we're going to start by looking at the Saya POV, right? I'm going to let this play out mostly in real time, and we're going to cut here and there. But the first thing I want you guys to, keep in mind is kind of the positioning, right? And when you look at Saya and Scout, right away, they're going to play for wave priority, as both teams know that it's really important to kind of push the wave. And Scout was playing for kind of early bridge control. And the moment that they get the wave priority is a term that means when you're pushing the wave forward, they're going to kind of keep this high ground control. And you can see how from minute 1, Melee Creeps just has this level of confidence in the lane that is kind of unmatched, right? And they secure the high ground, they secure the positioning, and what this does is that it ensures that it's easier for them to take advantageous trades, because as they can see, they can instantly kill the healing trooper, right? Saya just eliminated the healing trooper right away, and that reduces the amount of healing that the side of sneaky golems can get, as well as basically maximizes the trades for the side of melee creeps. Now they're just taking this kind of aggressive trade, which actually ends up kind of not working out for the sake of Saya, right? Saya actually takes a ton of damage. So we'll see what he does to recover. Obviously on Mina, he's going to buy extra spirit here. And now on the other hand, on Sneaky Golem, they've kind of taken over the high ground, but right away you'll see that they're going to fight for it. And you see that there's a little split here where AVG is not getting support from Rocker right away on this high ground, which kind of makes it so melee creeps can regain control of the bridge a little bit faster. But regardless, with the current HP situation in favor of Sneaky Golem in this mid lane, they're going to strike back and just kind of take back control of the lane for the next couple of seconds. Now, one thing you'll notice about these high level players is the moment that the small camps or the boxes spawn is that they're right on top of it, especially if there's nothing better to do. So Saya does the small camp. He actually kind of messes up. He should have healed a lot more off of the small camp than he did. He messed up his rake, so he didn't really heal too much, but you'll notice that there's really no wasted time, right? If they don't think that there's anything productive, any productive trades for them to take, right away they're going to go to the boxes, or they're going to do the small camp and just do anything that they can do to kind of secure a lead, right? So Saya here thinks, hey, I can't really get an advantageous trade, just going to hit some boxes, and it's these small little efficiencies that just make it so you stay in the game. So far, Sneaky Golems have actually been more efficient. They're about 200 souls up. Scout is a little behind. It's not much, right? But it's really, really important. And there's kind of dance of back and forth where they get wave priority, and then they kind of determine what they're going to do with it, right? So here, it looks like on the side of Saya, he is not confident that he's strong yet. And what's happening here, and this brings me to my second point, is that melee creeps, better than any other team, understands how to play their power spikes, right? And so a power spike, I have a video on this, but essentially is when you get a big, increase in your relative strength level. So for Mina, that's going to be 2 points in love bites, for example, right? And you can see he's going to get Mystic Shot. He's going to get 2 points in love bite very soon in about 200 souls. So after this wave, he'll have that, and that's exactly when he'll be getting a little bit more aggressive, right? So he unlocks the 2 AP right away, and they're going to start getting aggressive pretty much as soon as this power spike is unlocked. And as you can see, Paradox doesn't have her second point quite yet, so sometimes you can abuse these small little timings, but that's something that melee creeps is really good at. Another small thing to mention here is that players at this level are not afraid to reset, right? But they're going to reset at the correct time. So you can see here, Saya pushed the wave first before resetting to make sure he's not going to miss any creeps, and then he's going to go back to the lane right after. This is because people understand that if you're really unhealthy, you can't actually apply any pressure, right? And if you can't apply any pressure, then, even if you have the lead, it doesn't really matter. As you can see, he has the ultimate advantage for a second. I mean, AVG is actually like has his ultimate, right? So it's not going to matter. But, you know, Saya does try to take advantage of a short timing. And one thing that's really important at this level is that people take a lot of trades, right? People are going to go for these plays. They're going to try to make these things happen. And when I'm coaching people a lot of the time, I see people being AFK and holding on to their ultimates for a long time. You really want to try to go something, you know, right away. So we just saw like Bebop ult, Infernus ult was used in the other lane. We got Mo and Krill ults being used, right? If you look across the map, ults are being used left and right. They're not wasting any time on using their ults and kind of taking advantage of these, you know, kind of early game spikes that they're getting. And, you know, some of these trades are positive for them. Some of these trades are not. As you can see in the mid lane, it actually ends up being not really so good for them. Also, I believe earlier in the video, I referred to the Paradox as Rocker. Sorry, it's actually Goober. It's just that we played against Rocker and Paradox. So he's kind of living in my head rent-free because of that. But yeah, just to clarify. My next point is going to be about how Melee Creeps is able to snowball out of these initial leads, because right now, if you look at the laning stage, it's 4 kills in favor of Melee Creeps, 3 kills in favor of Sneaky Golem. You know, no tower has fallen yet, so it's roughly even, and yet at 10 minutes, Melee Creeps is going to come out with a huge lead. So we'll pay attention to exactly how they do that, but you can see that Saya is kind of doing the first step of that, which is stealing enemy jungle. So the moment that he gets any downtime in between waves, the wave was cleared, instantly he goes to the enemy jungle, takes 1 camp, and it might not seem like a big deal, but it really does add up. And here we've got pretty much just a skirmish where AVG is a little deep. He gets kind of gone on, gets saved by shielding a little bit. Saya's going to be using his ultimate once again, right? Just kind of using the ult off cooldown. And I mean, this Mina here just does so much damage that it's insane. And they're going to be able to essentially get, I believe, I don't know if they get the double kill. I think they just get a single kill here, but it's going to be a single kill into a tower. And then once they get the tower, what do they do? Because this is essentially the first lead that's significant that Melee Creeps have obtained. You can see there's always a huge focus on efficiency, right? Where like right away, something happens, Saya's always doing something, right? If you look at Scout's POV here, he's also kind of stealing stuff. He was trying to steal a little bit of their resources. He's going to be farming to his next item, and they're going to be kind of staying here. Now, one thing that Goober is doing here, since they lost mid, is that he's rotating to a different lane to kind of try to make something happen and salvage it. And now this is something that you can apply you yourself in your pub games, is when you lose lane really bad, you can try to have impact in another lane, especially if you're playing a hero like Paradox, you know, that can be super active. And here he rotates. Unfortunately, it doesn't work out for him because Scout very smartly matches the rotation, right? And similarly, if you won your lane, it's very important that you match the rotation of people that lost their lane if they are rotating. Now, in your games, most likely people aren't doing that very much. But if you notice that your laners are missing, try to go to other lanes to impact them, right? So their Scout noticed, hey, Paradox isn't mid. It's very likely that she's going to be ganking a lane. He kind of either reacted to the lane that she ganked or correctly guessed it. Either way, but he showed up on time and basically, you know, kind of saved the show. And Melee Creep's lead is now extending further and further because Scout, off of that rotation, secured another favorable trade, which is then leading into a further snowball. And then you're going to see that, you know, they're going to just basically keep snowballing and keep sending resources to further extend their lead and take more of the enemy's resources. But once again, we've got a skirmish on the side lane. DMB and Lord actually both end up going down, but we've got Fishcake and Scout on the rotation, so they're sending kind of numbers to this last remaining tower, right, to try to get this trade. Scout's going in super deep for League here, and, you know, at first it looks like an overextension, but I remember watching this live, and he actually just barely lives, and this trade kind of ends up, you know, working out in favor of them because Fishcake ends up getting a kill, and they have so much damage on these enemy players, and yes, they lose the tower on the other side, but the amount of map pressure that they have right now is just kind of unmatched. And even though it wasn't the best trade for them, the logic kind of still applies. Like they kind of messed up the execution. Lord and DMB both probably shouldn't have both died at the same time. And there was a couple of little other misplays, right? But as you can see from Sneaky Golem, another lesson that you can kind of get is to just essentially stay as active as possible. Because Sneaky Golem, I know I said it was a 10k lead at 10 minutes. It's not exactly a 10k lead. It's more like a 3 or 4k lead, right? But Melee Creeps definitely came out on top of this laning stage, got priority in most of the lanes and stuff like that. And part of the reason for that is because they were just a little bit a step ahead for the most part instead of Sneaky Golem, right? The rotations were clean, and as you can see, they're doing these kind of like 3 and 4 man invades on the enemy jungle when they're winning, stealing everything, cleaning up the sinner sacrifices, cleaning up the camps. Then they're going to go position for the buffs, and here in this situation, I actually think that they end up getting both buffs because Sneaky Golem is making a play for the last remaining tower. So in order to summarize the main kind of things that you can learn and apply to your own gameplay, I would break it down into 3 categories. Number one is you want to make sure to grab positioning in the laning stage. Just posturing and getting that high ground and just kind of making yourself feared a little bit and grabbing the space in the laning stage will make it much easier for you to apply pressure in lane and have wave priority. The second thing is that you want to make sure to play around your power spikes and be aggressive at the correct times and use your abilities, right? I see so many people not using their abilities, not using their ultimates when they get them, not playing around their 2.6k power spike when they get 2 AP in one of their abilities, right? And then the third thing is, once you win lane, always be doing something between waves, right? Even before you win lane, always be doing something between waves, whether it's boxes, whether it's aggression, whether it's stealing their camps. And if you win lane, look to rotate to another lane, perhaps. If you notice that your laners are missing, make sure that you are rotating to the lane that is getting ganked if there is a lane that is getting ganked, right? And here, you know, to finalize it, melee creeps kind of end up taking this urn fight, and that's where they get their 10k lead that I saw on the scoreboard. So the 10k lead out of lane isn't exactly correct, but you know, they beat Sneaky Golem at the first urn fight and then kind of snowballed out of there. And they were only able to do that because they had wave priority in most of the lanes because they won the laning stage. So at a high level, laning stage is incredibly important, and I hope that you learned a thing or two from this video. As always, thank you so much for the support, and I'll see you next time.